Hey YouTube family. I wanted to talk a little bit about people and social relationships. As I was growing up, I've always been considered as a smart kid. I usually had straight A's and was on the honor roll, and I always thought that studying and education were the most important things in the world. And this, in general, this has served me pretty well. Because of that, it was easy for me to get a job, and I'm living a generally good life. But I always wonder, at what cost is this for me? For one thing, I had to stay up many nights doing homework, and I couldn't go out with friends that often because if I did, then I wouldn't have time to do that homework. And for the most part, this is not that bad. I mean, always thought that people in general were very questionable. If you think about it, people do a lot of bad things. They lie, they steal, they cheat, they are indecisive, they are irrational, illogical, they change their minds, they break promises. And I could never really understand people. However, when dealing things with like math or computers, it's always straightforward, the answer is always clear. If you hit a button while playing a video game, your character will always jump. And just things are very controlled in that world. So because of that, I've always stayed away from people. But recently I've been thinking a lot that maybe this wasn't such a good decision. I now see the value of people a lot more. If you think about it, we live in a world with other people. So as you go out and do things, even as a programmer myself, I deal with the computer for a majority of the day. I still have to deal with my teammates, my managers, the people around me. So throughout your entire life, you'll always have to deal with people. And I've been reading a lot of books recently, and one of the things that I was reading up on is called emotional intelligence. And to my understanding, there's at least 4 parts to this. That's understanding your own emotions, controlling your own emotions, understanding other people's emotions, and controlling other people's emotions. And I think after going through that book, things started to make a little bit more sense to me. One of the main points about this is that people are generally emotional beings and not logical beings. So take, for instance, if you try to, when you're trying to tell someone to do something, like let's say stop smoking. I mean, everyone logically knows that smoking is bad for your health. So ideally, in theory, no one would smoke, right, since it's so bad. However, many people do. And I think the fact is that even though it's logically bad for you, emotionally, people are addicted to this. They love that sensation that smoking gives them much more than the logical fact of that thing is bad for you. Or another example is people who are in bad relationships. Logically, they know they should get out, but because emotionally they're scared or they, for some reason, they're emotionally attached, they stay in bad relationships. Therefore, I started thinking more that if you understand emotions a lot better, then you'll be able to control your life situation a lot better. This includes things like even controlling your own emotions. Take, for example, if someone accidentally bumped into you, if you couldn't control your own emotions, you might just start yelling at them and saying, "Hey, watch out, buddy." And then the other person will be also angry, and they're going to start yelling back at you, and next thing leads to another. You're both in jail, and you don't even know how this happened. On the other hand, if you had a strong emotional intelligence and you were able to control yourself, then you might, if someone bumps into you even or just says something that normally would tick you off, if you controlled yourself, and you might say something nice back to them and saying, "Oh, it's okay, it was just an accident, have a nice day," or you might know something better to say, which might change the other person's emotion. So then they might say, "Oh, sorry, I was just having a bad day," and one thing might lead to another, and you might be just best friends from that point on. So I'm still learning a lot more about this field, but I think in general, the field of emotional intelligence and in general psychology is, there's a lot of things that I appreciate now more than before. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section down below. and feel free to suggest anything that I should talk about in future videos. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.